Yo, what's up, YouTube? You know, it kind of pisses me off that YouTubers are telling you to sell your collection, or that they're telling you, they're selling their huge collections, and that maybe you should consider doing it too. Well, I take an alternative approach and style to this topic because honestly, I don't think you should sell things that have meaning to you. I don't think you should sell things unless you absolutely need to. And I honestly think that people that do sell their collections have almost immediate regret unless they're severely addicted and they need that as something that will actually change their life. Okay, so we're going to go over 5 reasons today as to why I think that you should keep your collections. Number 1, guys, we've got nostalgia. I can't think of how much nostalgia I have for retro video games. Looking back at Chrono Trigger and that kind of stuff, or Super Mario Kart, and actually playing these games, popping them into my actual Super Nintendo is just such a great experience. In front of a CRT, even better. You don't need that stuff, but it just makes me feel good. Emulation is an option, of course, but there's just something about it for me as a collector, taking those physical games and popping them into a system. It's a whole experience. It's not just about the games for me. I need that extra few steps that makes me feel like I'm in that moment. Number 2, guys, is the investment potential. Let's face it, these games are worth money. They are worth a lot to people because they're trying to grab that nostalgia, right? They're trying to grab a little bit of that childhood. And the reality is I've had to do it too. I've had to go out to resellers and have to buy these games, and they are not cheap. But let's face it, they are going up in value because the fact is there's less of them that are operating, there's less of them available, and things get lost over time. So when you look at it, yes, it is something that will gain value over time. Now, do I know if it's something that will keep value over time? That I do not know. Will further generations actually have interest in these games? I think they will. I think they will. And yeah, I really think that these games just are icons, right? You know, they don't make them like that anymore. The other thing is gaming community and shared interest, guys. Gaming community itself, just being part of a gaming community, like a Super Nintendo Discord, or just keeping yourself involved with the community is really fun. People talk about their favorite games. Hell, you're here right now. That's what we're doing. It's a shared interest between myself and you. We're talking about retro video games, right? I play retro video games on the channel. I usually play them authentically. Sometimes I emulate if I have to do remote play, but there's just so fun to share that moment with somebody else. Like, it's so cool to be able to play with somebody on the other side of the planet and just play these old video games that mean so much to me, right? I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's why I started this channel, was because I love retro video games so much and I wanted to share that interest with you. Number 4, guys, is preservation of history. Let's face it, it's getting harder and harder with today's climate to actually keep retro video games going. Things are getting lost. Source code is lost decades ago. The rights are lost. If we don't preserve these games, then who will? Because let's face it, it's not in the game developers' interest to preserve these video games for me or you. They want to let them die, and they want you to play the new stock that has microtransactions, up the yin-yang loot boxes, all this other crap that I absolutely cannot stand, right? It just drives me absolutely insane that we have to go through the leaps and the bounds to try to preserve what should be preserved to begin with. These games are just icons of their time. They're just so representative of the hardware at the time, the software degree, like innovation, like it's so much innovation, right, in these games. They are art pieces. You know, they say limitation breeds innovation. Well, it's very true in the video game industry. And that is why I think that preserving these for future generations, it's just so important. And you know what? My daughter's going to have my whole collection. Lucky girl, right? And I know she'll appreciate it because she grew up with those games just like I did. But she played them with her dad. My dad didn't play video games with me at all. And the last one, guys, is your personal enjoyment. I think that is probably the most important thing. That is why you shouldn't sell your collection. Let's face it, if you enjoy the games, keep the games, man. Enjoy them, play them. Play them once every few years. Play them once a year. Play them every week. Who cares? If you love those games and you don't like what's currently being shoveled down your throat in today's gaming market, I totally get it. You know, it's disgusting to me how much money developers have to suck out of you. It's not really the developers, though, right? It's really the gaming companies. It's like EA, Ubisoft, all these other things. It just makes me sick. I think of Bobby Kotick, I think was from Activision. Like, just such a vile human being. Had absolutely no right doing anything with video games, but he was a shrewd businessman, right? And he knew how to find angles to milk money out of you. It all came from these corporate knuckleheads, right? It's all about the shareholders. It's disgusting. So enjoy the games, guys. Those were my 5 reasons as to why I think you should not sell your video game collection. I did this all in one take, no messing around. And yeah, I'd love to know in the comments, guys, what you think. Do you think you should sell your video game collection? Have you sold your video game collection? Would you never sell it? You know, let me know that kind of stuff. I'd love to hear about it. And we'll see you next time here at Koi Fish Gaming. Bye, guys.